Oh my god, look at this. Check that out.
Just dip it into the sauce. Nice juicy tacos like this.
Check this out, guys. Oh my god. Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on Food Chain TV. I have the most incredible taco recipes today. I'm making my Mexican pork butt tacos. Guys, I know I tell you this on every video, but trust me, you have never tasted something this delicious. Check it out. In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn a humble $13 pork butt into one of the most delicious taco meats you've ever had. And I'm also going to share my pan-seared poblano taco sauce recipe. I know food is super expensive right now, but good news because I only spent about $26 for all these ingredients. Okay, it's pork butt time. So I got my pork butt in a Dutch oven with a lid. Lid is very important, keeps all the moisture in. Now what I want to do is stab holes into the meat with a nice serrated knife. Then you want to poke holes into those holes to make bigger holes. And you can do that on the bottom too. And what I'm going to do is I have my garlic cloves and I'm going to put a garlic clove in each one of those holes. And that's going to boost the flavor of this meat. It's going to be incredible. Nice garlicky pork. Now I got 2 cups of beef stock. I'm going to add some soy sauce to that. I have tamari on hand. That's what I had. Put a bunch of that in there. And half a can of crushed tomatoes, which I believe is like 14 ounces. Okay, mix that all up. That's going to be the braising liquid for the pork. Now I'm going to pour that in there. And I'm going to make sure it only comes about halfway up the meat. You don't want to cover the meat completely. You want it halfway up. Now the seasonings. I have some onion powder I'm going to put on here. I'm going to make this really nice and flavorful. A lot of ground cumin. I'm going to have a lot of oregano because I like the taste of oregano when I braise Mexican style meats. So put a whole bunch of that in there. You can put fresh oregano too. Smoked paprika. That's going to give it a nice base flavor as well. Some coarse black pepper. I didn't have a pepper grinder. Couldn't find it. All right, now, very important. I want to know the exact temperature of this piece of meat because I want to cook it to 204 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to use a meat thermometer and I'm going to insert the probe into this meat so that I can know exactly when it reaches 204 degrees Fahrenheit. So I want to put it into the thickest part of the meat right in the middle to get an accurate temperature reading, and I want to make sure that the metal part of the probe is not touching the sides of the pot. Okay, so I put the lid on it, nice tight fitting lid, and in the oven it goes. Alright, let's talk technique. For this recipe, we're going to braise the pork butt. So what does braising mean? Well, braising is a cooking method where meat is slowly cooked in a small amount of liquid, such as beef stock, chicken stock, or wine, for example, in a covered pot with a lid, at low temperature, resulting in tender meat and rich, concentrated flavors. Braising works especially well on tough cuts of meat by breaking down the connective tissues, the collagen, and the muscle fibers. The second factor we have to pay attention to when braising meats is temperature. We want to cook meats to an exact temperature to get the best results. And now that we live in modern times, anyone can afford a meat thermometer, which is the tool that allows us to do this. The third factor to braising is time. We've all heard of the term low and slow. This means that we want to bring the meat up to the optimum temperature as slowly as possible. This slow rise in heat allows the moist heat to penetrate deep into the meat, preventing the meat from drying out, breaking all the tissues down, making it soft, and enhancing the flavor by allowing the meat to absorb the seasonings, the braising liquid, and the aromatics like garlic or onions. So I've set up my meat thermometer and I have my target temperature on the right, which is 204 degrees, and I have the current temperature on the left, which is 48 degrees. So if you have lots of time, set your oven to 225 and wait for that piece of pork to come up to 204. But if you're in a little bit of a rush, set your oven to 300 and it might take 3 to 4 hours. Okay, now that I have the pork butt beautifying in the oven, let me show you my Poblano Pepper Taco Sauce. I like poblano peppers because they're milder than jalapenos but still have a nice peppery flavor. So just cut them in half, take all the seeds out, cut them into chunks,
put them into a pan with a little bit of olive oil and start searing them. Then take a juicy ripe tomato, cut it up into rough chunks. I have a little clove of garlic, as you can see there, and we're going to throw this in the pan and sear them right along with the peppers. I'm going to sear all of these together on high heat till I see a nice char on the outside of the poblano peppers. I have some color on the tomatoes, and I have some color on that little clove of garlic. And then I'm going to just turn the heat off and put a lid on it and just let it chill out while I get all my other ingredients together. I have my food processor set up and ready to go. Now I'm going to start adding my ingredients. The first thing up is a Florida green avocado, and I like these because they're a little bit watery, and I actually want this sauce to be watery. I don't want it to be thick like a guacamole. Alright, so in goes the avocado, a bunch of fresh cilantro, the tomato, poblano, and garlic that we seared in that pan. That goes into the food processor. I'm going to add some sea salt. I wanted a more refined flavor in this sauce, so instead of adding limes or lemons, I'm going to add red wine vinegar. Alright, then I puree it in the food processor, and then we end up with this beautiful green sauce. Now this is a perfect flavor enhancer for a taco. And now back to our perfectly cooked pork butt. What I love to do here is just take some of that really tender meat off the pork butt, dip it in all the juices, and then chop it up for tacos. The braising liquid is so flavorful, I just put it in a bowl and it's perfect for dipping. I really like these tortillas made of 50% corn and 50% wheat because they have all the flavor from the corn, but they're nice and soft. Now I load them up with all this chopped up juicy meat. Now I put on a bunch of this beautiful taco sauce, just piling the flavor onto this taco. Some crunchy white onions, and you want to use white onions specifically because they're very mild.
Guys, this is the moment I've been waiting for all night.
Just dip it into the sauce. Nice juicy tacos like this.
Look at that. Oh my god. Wow. Guys, this is so freaking good. Oh my god. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you're going to go out there and try this pork butt taco recipe. I'm telling you, you will not be sorry. Thank you guys for supporting this channel, and as you know, I'm trying to get to 1 million subscribers, so every single subscription counts. So please, if you're not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, and leave me your comments below and let me know what your favorite taco is. Thank you guys very much again, and I will see you on the next video.